Today's topic is great writing tips from a great writing guru. If you've got 5 minutes, I've got 5 tips from William Zinsser's classic book on writing well. All writers, just like everybody else, have to learn their craft. And there are many places where you can go to learn things about writing. You're looking at a YouTube video right now, and those are the places that some people these days stick to. But I'm going to suggest to you, as I have before, that there are some writing reference books that every writer ought to have. Quite a while ago, I actually did a video on the 5 that I thought that you should have number 1 in your reference collection. But I also thought that it might be helpful to do a series of videos on some of these books to pull out what I consider to be 5 of the most important tips from each of these books. And today I want to focus on the first one, and that is William Zinsser's On Writing Well. Zinsser's book on writing well was first published in 1976. When I started my career in the 1980s as a medical and health writer, this was probably the first reference book I bought, and I've had a copy of it ever since. And it's been reproduced many times ever since. There are lots of new editions. And of course, as you know, that was long before anybody could look up anything on the web. Now let me tell you a little bit about William Zinsser so you can see where his reputation comes from and how credible that he is. Zinsser was an American editor, writer, literary critic, and writing teacher. He taught writing at Yale University. He died in 2015. The subtitle of On Writing Well is A Classic Guide to Writing Nonfiction, which of course is what drew me to it back in the 1980s. But I found since then that it's a guide that has lots of good information for people regardless of what they write, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, short form or long form. So here are 5 great tips, great ideas from William Zinsser's On Writing Well. Number 1, the secret to good writing is to strip every sentence to its cleanest components. Now, Zinsser is referring to what he and other writing teachers, coaches, gurus have said over the years, and that is to remove as much clutter as possible from your writing. This means getting rid of those unnecessarily large, long, complicated words, getting rid of all the extra words that aren't necessary to make your message clear. Clean it up. Get rid of the clutter, get rid of the jargon. If you're writing nonfiction in particular, get rid of the jargon. Number 2, few people realize how poorly they write. This is one of the sentences from his book that has resonated with me over the years. Few people realize how poorly they write, and I know I've quoted him on a number of occasions this way to people like wannabe writers, students at the university. They don't realize how much they need to learn about their writing. It's very important to be realistic about the quality of your writing and to realize that as your writing improves, it can still get better. If you ever get to the point where you think there's nothing more to learn, that your writing can't get any better, then you're completely oblivious to what it means to write well. Number 3, there is no excuse for losing a reader through sloppy workmanship. I love this one because there are many people these days who seem to think it's not all that important to learn the fine points of style, grammar, punctuation, syntax, word choice. But all of those things are extremely important, and you will be surprised how many readers you will lose as a result of not doing it right. It's very irritating for people when you're making mistakes when it comes to these sorts of things. Can you break those rules? Absolutely. But you need to know what they are before you can break them. Breaking them intentionally isn't sloppy workmanship. Not knowing them in the first place is. Number 4, the most important sentence in any article, or I would say book or any other piece of writing, is the first sentence. It's that first sentence that grabs the reader and tugs that reader along to the next sentence. But of course, as Zinsser also says in his book, the next sentence is then very important, and then the next one, and the next one. They're all very important to tug the reader along. So it makes you very much aware of each individual sentence that you write and the impact that it can have on a reader, or might not have on a reader, if the reader gives it up. Number 5, the perfect ending should take the reader by surprise and yet seem perfectly right. I think we often worry about how to get that first sentence right, as I mentioned in his tip number 4. But I think the last sentence is also extremely important because remember, it's that last sentence that's going to push the reader on to your next piece of writing. So it's so important to get that right. Well, those are Zinsser's teachings that resonated with me, things that I've pulled out of the book that I've come back to again and again that I think have helped with my own writing. And of course, you could always go and buy the book and have your own copy and read the whole thing, which I highly recommend. But if you don't, I hope you enjoyed these tips. Talk to you soon. Subscribe to Write, Fix, Repeat, and maybe I can help you improve your writing knowledge and skills. 5 tips at a time.